Unlike the automotive and interplanetary ambitions of Musk, we've limited knowledge of what to expect from the Tesla plane, so we'll try to break down the video into 5 parts. Does Tesla have plans for the aviation industry? Will it be better than a conventional plane? The problems an electric plane need to overcome, the solutions, and what to expect from it. And if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, we've kept some bonus facts about the Tesla plane at the end of this video, so make sure you watch all the way through. What are Tesla's plans for the aviation industry? With all the innovations we've seen in the last few decades, Elon Musk and his companies have brought some of the most innovative methods in space exploration and on-road transportation. But it might not be just space and Earth the billionaire genius may be gazing on. It's also on the empire of the sky. The world of aviation has been the least progressive in the last few decades. But that's not because human beings couldn't come up with better alternatives, but it's just because the alternatives would be unparalleled effects on either its financing or environmental sustainability. But could that be answered with electricity? How does Tesla plan to develop one of the most ambitious projects to take flight to the next level? Welcome to the Top Electric. Tesla is forward with its on-road transportations. You can find thousands of videos and leaks about the innovations with their on-road EVs. But a Tesla plane seems like something that would take a lot of time that's not worth to wait. But contradictory to these, Elon Musk himself stated that he's thinking about producing an efficient electric plane. Take a look at this interview where you can hear it from the horse's mouth.
Well, an exciting thing to do would be some sort of electric vertical takeoff and landing, supersonic jet of some kind.
Vertical takeoff and landing meaning no need for a runway. Just shoot up straight in the air and then...
What can we take from the information we know is that Elon has told over and over that his idea for the plane would be VTOL, or simply put, a craft that can take off vertically. He also confirmed that he plans to make it a supersonic jet, as observed from his interviews.
A better design?
I mean, probably, I think it is, yeah.
Who have you talked to about this?
And I've talked to friends.
Friends?
Friends and
How many friends?
girlfriends and...
You can tell me. What do you got? What's going on?
But just looking on the bright side is not enough to state how well it can perform. Looking into the huge problems and developments needed for the project is yet another signification that Tesla is seriously considering this project. Elon states the ability they have for a Tesla plane is not just an economical problem, but barriers of efficiency and resources. Although Tesla is going for a full-capacity plane, there have been multiple studies and patents presented by car manufacturing companies like Tesla and Hyundai for a prototype of cars that could carry 3 or 4 people on air. Since these are companies other than Tesla that invent such technologies, it would bring the needed competition for Tesla to present their best results fast. Better than a conventional plane?
Entirely different regulatory regime. There aren't any car companies that are also aircraft companies. I think it's incredibly hard to bring an aircraft to production and meet all of the regulatory requirements worldwide. It's a very difficult thing. We'd have to not do a bunch of other things. It's not like there's like a ton of unallocated resources at Tesla and like, oh, what should we do now? It's like a constant resource starvation. It's incredibly difficult to find the right talent, integrate them into an organization, and have it work effectively. It's not a money thing. Especially, there's just a fundamental limitation on exceptional engineers.
And we could also reduce the manufacturing costs. We would not have a ridiculously high maintenance cost as traditional planes. According to Musk, he also plans to make the takeoffs more efficient by limiting the runway distance. If the plane could produce upward thrust, which could then be redirected as forwarding thrust for movement, the flight could practically take off like a drone. We have a problem with our planes, and no, it's not the lack of innovation, but it's the lack of practicality and expense. Take the Concorde, for example. When it came out in the 80s, it could do a New York to London flight in just 3.5 hours. But even though this was practical, it had countless problems, especially with the fuel pricing, and damage could be done to the ozone layer. It was twice as fast as the speed of sound, which means it was considerably noisy, and needed extra care for takeoff and landings. The flight was soon stopped because of these problems, and we seem to have hit the limit in aviation. Unless we try to use an electric plane, electric planes run on battery and can be a lot cheaper.
Propelling aircraft, you only really need about 400 watt-hours per kilogram, provided the percentage of cell on the aircraft is high. It doesn't need to be anywhere near as high as it is on a rocket. But if it's sort of at the 70% level at 400 watt-hours per kilogram, you can do very decent range.
Since the upward thrust could be divided with multiple propellers, it would be used to limit the noise production from takeoff. This is also practically possible, as the estimated power for an aircraft to take off would be just 400 watt-hour per kilogram. Tesla is also working on improving its battery capacity. The biggest problem with any electric plane would be the battery. This is something Elon Musk has talked about very often as one of the biggest barriers to a Tesla plane. Even though batteries are powerful, they can only store a limited supply of energy. And unlike fuels, which you can transport and transfer in a very limited time, it's just not possible with electricity. Tesla is working on improving their battery capacities, and according to Musk, there might be possibilities of creating more efficient batteries in just a couple of years. Unlike conventional planes, the Tesla plane would be supersonic without the problems we have currently. This means that transportation would be much faster and can reduce the travel period by an approximated 50%. The problems. When we're talking about the Tesla planes, we can't ignore some of the challenges that lays ahead that Tesla has to overcome. Fuel tanks in a plane have multiple safeguards to make sure that it doesn't get damaged, and even if it does get damaged, there are steps to reduce that magnitude. However, since the electric plane is still in its very early stages, there's just not enough research nor certification to provide a protective protocol if something does happen to the battery. It's also really expensive to regularly check for faults in the battery, compared to just checking the fuel pipes on a traditional plane. The conventional plane also has options to dump fuel if something goes wrong while taking off or landing, to minimize explosive damages. But if a battery catches fire, there's no way you can just dump the battery out of the plane and away from the passengers. Then, there's the fact that flights can't have pit stops. And even if you have a full battery on your Tesla car, you might have to make a stop or two if you're having a cross-country road trip. Now imagine flying hundreds of feet in the sky over nations in a single foot. Fortunately, multiple companies are working on ways to make batteries more efficient without bulking up their size, and it should be a relief for anyone looking forward to the Tesla plane. But it's not just the battery capacity that the airlines would have problems with, but it's also the safety. The same thing can be done for planes. Musk also stated that to overcome the problems, he plans on merging the facilities of Tesla with the aero engineers from SpaceX. This will also provide a needed informative resource for an electric plane that no other company has. He also stated that the prototypes of flying cars can be practical. Moreover, the biggest problems with batteries are being worked on every day. Can Tesla solve the problems of an all-electric plane? Pretty much all problems have a solution. As long as there is time, we humans will make solutions that are efficient and simple. This can be expected with Tesla. The problems of an electric plane are not as tremendous either. It's already been proven that we can take off supersonic jets from a vertical takeoff. It's also possible that electric planes can travel for limited distances, but only with a limited speed of fewer than 40 kilometers per hour. Does that sentence sound familiar? Yes. It was exactly what people used to say about electric cars when they were slow and low mileage. Then Tesla happened and changed the world of electric automobiles, and it would be as efficient as having a backup fuel tank to a conventional plane. Granted, Tesla might need to reinvent the whole solar panels to have the most efficiency. It is something absolutely doable, at least in theory. But not all solutions come from Tesla. Some of the solutions from the EV plane comes from people who care about the environment. It's only a matter of time that we can see this pattern in batteries as well. Tesla also manages to bring an alternative to power source. Instead of charging from the ground, it'd be practical if the plane would be charged mid-flight, right? Well, there's a way, and it's called solar power. Having extremely efficient solar panels could also provide as an additional power supply to the Tesla plane. Not just EVs, but appliances and technologies require smaller yet efficient batteries, and the effort to make efficient batteries are being studied from all aspects of every industry. When the battery problems are solved, it's only a matter of test and certifications to see the first electric planes. Try to imagine what time has done to computers. The computers back in the 80s were ginormous, but at extremely low power. Now, it can be as sleek as a MacBook, yet have unparalleled power compared to the old computers. Now, we get to the most important part of the video. Let's take a look at how far and how possible it is for Tesla to release an electric plane. It's not easy estimating a fixed date for the Tesla plane, but scientific progress in the field of electronic solutions and the interest Musk has shown for the project can be used to give out a rough period where you can expect the production. According to researchers from the description, There's been fundings and specified research is conducted to produce efficient electric planes, and the best thing is that these are open sources. Kevin Norker, CEO of Amp Air, states that we need to make changes to the industry, and electrification is one of the big trends that will hopefully reduce that burden. This would add on an additional 1 to 2 years, and Tesla would need another year or so to make the aircraft commercial. In addition, it might even take longer, up to a year, for some new protocols have to be made for an electric airplane. It's very much possible that we can expect to see a smaller and efficient battery within 3 or 4 years. Take a look at this tweet by Musk, where he confirms its possibility. Next, assuming that Tesla starts at least to make a blueprint for the machine, it would take 2 to 3 years of testing and research to make a practical model. But that won't be the end, as there are still aviation certifications required to mass-produce the aircraft. You can also expect the Tesla plane to be immensely government-approved and funded, as it would help nations to adapt to a greener transportation.